Welcome to this episode of Purpose Power. In this episode, we're going to be considering the question, what are expected values? How do we define expected values? So let's start at the beginning. When we're thinking about creating a personal mission statement, we first start with our values. And there are 4 types of values at play. There are expected values that we'll talk about today, as well as admired values, values in development, and values in use. And each of those will get a future video with Purpose Power. Expected values are kind of defined in that word. These are values that we expect others to display back to us. Now, they are values that we definitely hold dear. And they also give us a sense of kind of our shadow side. Values that we might expect of others are really statements on how we want to be treated as people. But all of the expected values that we hold relate to somebody else. They are not values that we have any control over, and they're not values that we are saying that we truly, first and foremost, are the ones that are taking action on them. So let's put this into practice and talk about the real-world applications of expected values. Now, I think of expected values as something that's a little bit of a red herring along the way to developing your own personal mission statement. And here's why. The expected values that we likely can list or identify first come up in ourselves as something that we personally value. So here's an example. You might include on your list of values order, right? So a sense of tidiness, orderliness, everything is in its place, that sort of thing. Now, you might actually have that as one of your personal values, but here's where the landmine might appear. You might think about order and then you envision, well, my entire house will be orderly, and my car and my garage and my workplace, right? And so when we're thinking about these external places, we start to interact with who else lives in this orderly universe that you are considering and kind of constructing in your mind. And if you look under the hood, you might find that your commitment to order is really something you expect of others. You might think, well, order is a goal that I want to attain in my life when my kids pick up their socks, when my spouse puts away the mail, when my coworkers do their coffee cups after morning break. You might find that your commitment to order really is something that you expect of others. Here's another one, sympathy. Now, this is a really tough one. So sympathy, you may consider yourself a sympathetic person, and honestly, I can't admit that I have ever met somebody who doesn't say that they are sympathetic. But this could be something that you expect more of others than you really do of yourself. So if you're having a tired, rough day and you really want your friend, your spouse, your coworker to give you a listening ear, that's great. You're expecting them to be sympathetic. But if it truly is one of the values that you're going to act on, you need to really look deep on, is this a behavior? Is this a value that I'm going to make decisions and govern my actions by? Expected values are one of the most complex and contextual sets of values, but it's such a healthy perspective when we can identify that I put order or I put sympathy on my values list, but hey, I understand it's really something that I expect of others. So how do we differentiate between the values that we expect of others and the values that we really want to put into practice in our own lives? At the end of every 5-minute Purpose Power episode, I include a challenge that should take you 5 or fewer minutes to complete to help you really deepen and apply what we've been discussing. So let's talk about the challenge for expected values. When you look at the list of values that you think you might hold for yourself, think about the context in which you would act upon each of these. So for example, patience. You might picture yourself sitting with a child, helping them with homework. You might think of this as your volunteer time with older adults at the assisted living facility, or maybe it's patience in a meeting at work with that newer colleague who has some strange tendencies. That is totally one of your values, patience. Now, what if when you see that you've put sensitivity on the list, can you think of ways that you yourself are being or want to be sensitive? Or does it come to mind that maybe sensitivity means the way others treat you? So if you have a terrible commute into the office, you expect your coworkers to be sensitive that you might need a few minutes to cool down. Or that maybe something went wrong in your day and you're hoping that your kids or your spouse or your roommate, that they're sensitive, that you might be feeling a little bit prickly. We can distinguish between the two by looking at the context. I hope that you enjoy this exercise and report your results below in the comments. Please do subscribe to Purpose Power. This has been Purpose Power with Dr. Emilie Socash. Check us out online at themissionlabs.com for more tools, tips, techniques, and tricks, and to join our membership site where you can really dive in to developing your personal mission statement more deeply.
Here at the Mission Labs, our mission is helping you find yours. Head over to themissionlabs.com and sign up for our Mission Labs Members Lounge to get the inspiration you need now for crafting a personal mission statement and beginning your life of stated purpose.